wherever we may wander or wherever life may take us, we can never wander away from you. Surely you're nearer to us than our hands or feet, closer to us than the breath we breathe. And so it is this morning, O God, we look to you to renew our strength. A strength that tends to slip away in the hurry and the concerns of our day. Your promises are sure and steadfast, that they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. In this pressurized life we live, O God, so filled with negativity and discouragement, it takes from us so much faith and trust and strength. We find coming here like this with our sisters and brothers to be such a relief. Our world is so full of discordant voices and divided opinions. We often find ourselves discouraged and fretful, unsure of how to think or what to believe. This place here with you and others is such an oasis of strength and certainty. This weekend especially, O God, thank you for all of our fellow countrymen who have sacrificed so much to make us a better place in which to live. We think especially of great souls like John Lewis and Rosa Parks and Jackie Robinson, and especially Dr. King. Men and women who knew the right and followed it. Who stood brave in the face of many obstacles. Who refused to be silent and also pulled us back from the brink of destruction. Thank you for them. For all they stood for. So often we find ourselves stumbling and feeling lost or betrayed. Yet there's not a single moment when your strength and power are not available to us. Would we but seek you? With those of this beloved community who are discouraged or afraid, alone or confused, sick or ill at ease. Guide them, we pray. And guide us, we ask. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead clock of life is round but once, and no one has the power to tell just when the hands will stop. At late or early hour, live, love, work with a will. Don't wait until tomorrow. For the clock by then may be still. What would we do you suppose, if we knew that this bright new year of 2019 would be the last year for us on earth? What changes might we make of our life? What would we do in our relationships? What changes would we make about the things we think? Changes in how we spend our time? What would we do? Who would we want to be with? What would we want to say? Or suppose the person you love most in all the world, this was their last year on earth. A child, suppose, or a spouse, or a brother, or a sister, or a parent, or a dear friend. What would we want to give them? What would we want them to know? What would we want to say? There in our scripture lesson this morning of 2 Timothy, tucked away there are 7 profound words that very often are completely overlooked and missed as we read through that beloved scripture. Those 7 words were among the last words Paul was ever to write. But they form St. Paul's answer to some of the greatest existential questions of our life. Sitting there in that dingy, dank, damp, smelly dungeon in the Mammary prison, just outside the Forum in Rome, with only the light coming in from a hole in the ceiling about 20 feet above him, Paul takes pen to vellum and begins to write to his young cohort, Timothy. Paul knew that he was about to die. And here he was, looking back over the long journey of his life. And he was waiting for word to come as to when his execution was going to be carried out. Paul was in Rome on trial before the Roman government. And he knew the outcome of this show trial, as we would call it today. He knew the outcome before it even started. And he was brought up on 2 charges. The first charge was on the charge of atheism. And that was because Paul refused to acknowledge that Nero was the emperor. He refused to pay homage at the shrines to Nero. He refused to bow down to Nero. And Nero was paranoid about the gathering strength of this young community of Christians. The other charge was cannibalism, because the spies of Nero had filtered their way into the little Christian community, and they had heard those words that we still use today. On the same night in which he was betrayed, Jesus took bread and blessed it and broke it. And he gave it to his disciples, saying, "Here, take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you." We stop at that. Because we know that what Jesus was talking about was an analogy, was a symbol, actually. And scholars believe that probably fewer than 6 months after writing this letter, Paul was taken out beyond the walls of Rome on the Ostian Way and was beheaded. We can imagine what life was like for Paul there in that Roman prison. Alone, wondering about the outcome, knowing that he was about to be executed. The outcome of his trial was already predetermined before the first word of his defense was offered. So our dear friend Paul, knowing all of this, takes pen to write to his beloved young disciple, Timothy. His son, he calls him, in the faith. He begins to pour out his heart to his dear friend, Timothy. Timothy and Paul had met on Paul's first missionary journey. And Paul was so taken with his mother Eunice and his grandmother Lois, and was so attracted to this young man that Timothy became his disciple. Paul became his mentor. Have you ever had a mentor? Someone you looked up to. Someone who helped guide you. Someone who had protected you when you needed protecting. Timothy and Paul had traveled extensively together. They had been through so much. They had been shipwrecked. They nearly drowned. They had been on narrow inlets. When it came time, they had been through so much together. Timothy was the man when the chips were down for St. Paul that he would turn to. When he needed something, he would always go to Timothy, knowing that Timothy would move heaven and earth to make that happen. They had been through so much together. And Paul loved Timothy. And there Paul was in 2 Timothy pouring out his heart to this young man. And then he writes these 7 words. Do your best to come before winter. Timothy, don't let the snow and ice of the Mediterranean winter keep you from coming to me because I need you. Please don't delay. Please don't procrastinate. Please don't put off until tomorrow because tomorrow may never come. Please, Timothy, come before winter. Then we get this heart-rending request. Some very practical things that he asks for Timothy to bring with him as he sits there in that dark, cold, dingy, damp prison, that miserable place. Even in summer, Paul is shivering there. And he asks Timothy not only to come and not only to bring the warmth of his friendship, but he asks Timothy, please, as you're coming, stop by Troas and pick up my coat and my cloak. Bring me my books, but above all, bring me the parchments. That would be another word for the scriptures, the Psalms, and the wisdom of Solomon, and the Pentateuch, and the prophets. More than anything, Timothy, though, please come. I need you. You know, I wonder if Paul felt forgotten there. One of the great privileges of my life was that I got to hear Dr. Timothy Sutherland speak once. You remember Dr. Sutherland was kept prisoner by the Shiite Muslims for 4 years. And one of the things he spoke most hauntingly about was his loneliness. For 6 months after being blindfolded and thrown in the trunk of a car, he was kept in this room, gagged and unable to remove the blindfold. And he thought he was all alone. Can you imagine being in that kind of loneliness for 4 years? And he talked about what that feeling was like in that dark dungeon of his mind. He said, I became a skeptic. In fact, I was an atheist because I had been praying and praying and praying, and God didn't seem to be responding to me. Then with a bit of humor, he says, here I am an atheist, and I have been praying. And when they removed the blindfolds, who was on either side of me? An atheist. Father Jacob. And on the right, Reverend Dr. Benjamin Weir. God answered my prayer, he asked. In that moment, he said, I got the funny thought that this may be God's sense of humor. I say I'm an atheist, and God puts me between two ministers. He said, you know, I thought I was forgotten. The only news we ever got on the shortwave radio was the BBC, and they never mentioned me once. Then after my release, I was brought to the San Francisco airport, and there on the plane I met my wife, Jean. And as we were coming off the plane, there were all these reporters and these camera crews and these news crews. And he said, I began to cry like a little baby, uncontrollable sobbing as these people were here. And I thought I had been forgotten and that there was no one who remembered me. And my wife explained to me that there had been thousands and thousands of people who had sent letters and cards of concern, and I had been feeling forgotten and forlorn, and that no one cared for me. I wonder if Paul felt that way. The frost of the Mediterranean was beginning to match the frost in his own soul and heart. He needed to know that somebody was out there still caring about him, still worried about him, still longing to be with me. Timothy, if you love me, please come. And of course, we wonder, did Timothy ever come? Timothy, please come before we're here. I like to believe that Timothy dropped everything, that he left that church in Ephesus where Paul had left him to preach the gospel, and that he went immediately and got Paul's coat and cloak and books and parchments and brought them to him because his friend needed him. But we don't know. There in that text that Fran read for us this morning in the King James Version, it forms the text for one of the greatest sermons ever preached in American Christendom. It was preached by Dr. Clarence McCartney, the senior pastor of the First Presbyterian Church in Pittsburgh, and that text formed the text for that sermon. His congregation there in Pittsburgh loved that sermon so that his session ordered that he was to preach that sermon at least once a year, and he did so for the next 37 years. He did exactly that. And I read that sermon over and over and over again. And one of the most poignant and brilliant pieces, Dr. McCartney paints this portrait of Paul sitting there in his prison cell, wondering if Timothy was ever going to come. But Timothy delays his coming. He needed to put some things in order. And then the winter came and closed off all shipping in the Mediterranean. And so he was stranded there. But on the first boat out to Rome in the spring, Timothy was there. And he came to Rome and he found the home of a Christian and he knocked on the door. And the Christian opened the door, and Timothy said, "Is Paul still alive?" And the Christian says to him, "Oh, Timothy, didn't you hear? Last December, Paul was beheaded." You know, Timothy, they told us that every time the jailer came into his cell, he wondered if it was you. And the last thing he said, Timothy, was, "Tell Timothy that I love him." Those were the last words, Timothy, he ever spoke. Let that sink in for a moment. I confess to you this morning, one of the greatest challenges of my life is knowing when to say yes to a request. It's the greatest struggle of my life, and when to say no. The greatest challenge of my life, and maybe for you as well, is to know where God is leading me and to willingly follow, and then not to go off on tangents. Come before winter. Do we take time every day, to listen for God? We're great, at telling God our need, and telling God what we want, and telling God about our family and our situation. We're great at that. But do we ever take time to listen for the voice of God? Now, I'm not suggesting to you this morning, as some might, that God's voice is audible, because I've never heard the audible voice of God, but I have heard God through other people. I've heard God through the circumstances of my life. I've heard God through the hunches of my life and through the nudges of my life. I have heard God speaking to me. You know what I mean? Deep down inside. Down where we really live life. Down in the marrow of our bones. Where is God asking you to come before winter? Maybe there's some relationship in your life that isn't what it should be, or isn't what you would like it to be, or needs to be corrected. Where is God asking you to come before winter? Where is there something in your life that isn't right, that's out of kilter, that's not as it should be? Where is God asking you to come before winter? Where is there a phone call to make? Come before winter. Where is there a letter to be written? Where is there an errand to be started? Come before winter. Where is there a habit to be dropped or a habit to be started? Come before winter. Come before winter. It's time for you to say yes to Jesus. You've been sitting on the balcony of life, as it were, and you've been putting off that divine invitation to Christ to come into your life. Have you ever said, "Lord, I believe in you. I want you to guide me. I want you to direct me. I want you to forgive my sin"? Maybe this is the day to come before winter. Maybe this is the day to say, "I want to be a member of Lakeside Presbyterian Church." Maybe this is God's call in your life. Maybe there's someone here who's just started to attend this church, and maybe God is saying, "Come before winter and get involved here. Sing in the choir, or help with Sunday school, or come to a Bible study, or come to an adult Sunday school class." This is time for you to come before winter. Where is God saying to us, "Come before winter"? What business do we need to conduct with God? Perhaps you're like I am. I've always been impressed with people who don't procrastinate. Soldier actor. One of the deadliest battles in World War I. Two men had been together through basic training and formed a lasting lasting and concrete friendship. And they had promised each other that no matter what happened, no matter where they would always be there for each other. And as things turned out, they were always assigned to a new assignment together. As things would be, they were there on the Western Front, and it was a particularly bloody day. Bullets were whizzing past, hand grenades were being thrown. It was one of the bloodiest days on the Western Front. They, along with their comrades who dug into foxholes, but as things would turn out, one friend was in one foxhole, and another friend was in the other foxhole nearby. And just then a hand grenade had been lobbed into the friend's foxhole. And our man crawls up out of his foxhole on his stomach and his elbows, and his comrade said, "What are you doing? You're going to get shot out there." But he said, I have to go. I promised my friend that I would be there. And he made his way across the field to the foxhole that he dropped himself down in. Coming back in a few moments, his comrades asked him, "Is your friend still alive?" He said, "No, he died."